If you're having to fly to your Camino start point, do you check in your pack or not? It's a very common question, and I will try to help you answer that. Coming right up. So for me to get to a Camino, I have to fly from Australia, and lots of pilgrims are flying from all over the world, obviously, and one of the decisions they have to make, particularly new pilgrims, is do I check in my pack or not? So let's think about some of the pros and cons, and I'm not suggesting that you should check it in or not check it in. I'm just going to share some sort of things that I've considered and how I came up with my choice. And I do check in my pack. Now, one of the reasons that I can, of course, and I mentioned this on a recent video, is that my pack is only a 34 litre. It fits in the overhead lockers, it fits all of the size and weight constraints, so I don't have a problem checking it in. So other than the sort of airline restrictions, why do I choose to check it in? This is going to sound a little bit daft. I know people worry about their airline luggage getting lost. I've flown hundreds of times domestically and internationally, and I don't ever recall having my luggage lost. But if it were to be lost, the last thing I would want to lose is my Camino pack, because in there I have got stuff that I've accumulated over years that I can't replace, that I've trialed and tested, and it would be awful. There are 1,000 other things I'd rather lose than the contents of that pack. You do hear occasionally of people's packs, ending up at the wrong airport and things like that. It's not that common, but I just like that safety and security of having it with me. And it's, easy to carry around the airport and so on. It obviously needs to be small enough to fit into the overhead lockers. Do check, if you're flying to your Camino, check with every single airline that you're going to be using what their size and weight constraints are for carry-on luggage if you're going to check it in. They do differ. Budget airlines very often will have a much smaller size that you're allowed to carry on. I'm using a different airline this time, I better just check. I suddenly had a thought. Okay, so do check with the airlines. Some things won't fit into your pack, so you can't basically check in your pack with some items. Now, what might those be? Liquids. So generally, the rules, as I understand at the moment, are any liquids sort of over 100 ml you're not allowed to have in the cabin. I don't carry anything over 100 ml, I don't think, but I carry, like insect repellents and things like that. I don't want them in my pack on the plane. I don't carry my walking poles onto the plane. That's a whole debate. I think we've got a video on poles on the plane or not. It sounds like that movie, doesn't it? What was it, Snakes on a Plane? I do have a video about poles on the plane. There are many different opinions on it. Some people get away with it. I would rather not take the risk. A lot of airlines and airport security procedures may not allow you to take poles onto the plane. So I don't. Obviously, if you have a knife, things like that, there are some things that you're not going to be able to carry in your carry-on luggage. How do I get those then? The magical mailing tube. So I do check in a mailing tube. This is not quite long enough. I've chopped it down, but it's quite a large diameter. What do I put in the mailing tube? I put in my 2 hiking poles, I put my umbrella, I put my pocket knife, liquids, things like that. And to be honest, some heavy stuff that I don't mind if I lose it. I'm struggling to think what that might be, but having said I really don't want to lose my pack and the contents, if there's something in there which would be fairly easy to replace, just to get the weight down, I'll put it into the tube. So I check in the tube, and in fact this time I'll probably have 2 of them taped together, because I'm taking a few things that I need for just doing a bit of business on the way. So I'll have a couple of things. So I don't know why that was relevant to bring that up, because now I have to explain what am I going to do with that stuff when I get there. So when I get to the Camino, a mailing tube or similar will be sent to Ivar in Santiago with the stuff that I don't need on the Camino. So I'm doing a couple of business meetings in the Middle East on the way over. So those clothes and things will go into one of these and get mailed to Santiago. That could be another video topic. Anybody want to know about how to mail stuff to Santiago to pick up at the end? Let me know. So the mailing tubes get checked in, the bag comes on with me. Another reason that people cite very often is, for carrying the bag onto the plane with you is that, of course, it's a lot quicker. So when you get to your destination, you don't have to wait at the luggage carousel and all the rest of it. You've got all your stuff with you and you just waltz off, leaving me at the luggage carousel, of course, to pick up my tube with my bits and pieces in it. But hey, look, I just thought it would be worth opening up the debate. If you have any questions about, whether to check in your bag or not, for those experienced pilgrims who watch the channel, what are your thoughts? Do you check in your bag? What's your reasoning for that? Do you not check it in? What's your reasoning for that? There's like everything Camino, there is no one answer. I just wanted to share some thoughts on why I check it in, because I can. It's small enough, there's not a lot in there, and I like the security of having it with me, basically. What are your thoughts? Are you planning to check in your bag? Are you planning to take it on board? I've waffled enough. I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.